Consuming dietary cholesterol is important for brain and mental health. Hear me out. Let's look at one of the most famous studies used to justify low dietary cholesterol intake. This was the Lipid Research Clinic's coronary primary prevention trial. It was a huge study. It cost $150 million to do. But actually, low-fat diets weren't even tested in this study. All the diets stayed the same, but some people took a cholesterol-lowering drug. And that's what was actually studied. Different researchers have done different statistical analyses of this study. The researchers themselves did find a reduction in heart disease in the group that took the cholesterol-lowering drug. Independent researchers haven't found any statistical correlation. But that's not even the most fascinating part of this study. What they found is that in the group taking a cholesterol-lowering drug, the non-heart disease rates of death increased significantly. Some of the methods of death that showed the greatest increase were violence and suicide. There's another study, and it's called the Multiple Risk Factor Intervention Trial. This was an epidemiological study, so there was no intervention. They just correlated 12,000 people's eating habits with different health outcomes. And they actually found a similar thing. Those eating a lower fat, lower dietary cholesterol diet had higher rates of death from violence and suicide. There was a very slight decrease in the low-fat group from coronary heart disease deaths. And there are other studies that show the same correlation. You take down the dietary intake of cholesterol and you eat a low-fat diet, you have a slightly lower risk of dying from heart disease, but you have a greatly increased risk of dying from other factors, some of those being related to your mental health. So we all have to take this information and decide what we want to do with it. But my argument is that this really shows that dietary cholesterol is important for the health of our brain. It's important for our brain to be able to function well, to get that source of fat in our diet. So look into the research yourself, see what you think, but take this into consideration.